ABSA says economic performance can be described mainly as resilient despite the constraints it is facing. The local economy is expected to grow at 0.7% this year and 1.6% next year. Electricity supply will likely remain a growth risk, but it's expected that the private sector power generation will make the economy more resilient over time. Other risks to growth include the anticipated drier weather conditions and lower demand from consumers as they deal with the high cost of living.
Interest rates have gone up quite significantly over the last couple of years. We're seeing the effects of that quite clearly in debt service costs, which are really taking away from people's disposable incomes. We've also seen that wage inflation also hasn't really caught up with headline CPI inflation. So people have been seeing some real disposable income erosion from that perspective as well. And I think you do see, I think, some of the effects of this sort of tougher environment on consumers. When you look at data from the National Credit Regulator, we have been seeing that arrears are starting to pick up. There's a lot of people out there who are finding it difficult, I think, to sort of keep up with their debt repayments.
Inflation is expected to continue on a downward trajectory going forward, though there are still risks to the outlook. ABSA believes we have seen the last of the interest rate hikes, provided inflation remains subdued. It's anticipated, however, that interest rates will remain elevated for longer, with a possible rate cut only in March next year.
We think the hiking cycle is done. I mean, if inflation does continue to ease as we expect, to print at around 5% over the next couple of prints, we think it's going to be harder, I think, going into that September MPC meeting to build an argument for additional hikes. How quickly do they start to ease on interest rates? We don't think they're going to be in a hurry. These upside inflation risks are going to remain a concern. The fact that you're looking at inflation expectations that are so far above the midpoint of the target range is also going to be a concern.
Revenue collection is expected to be weaker, with a predicted shortfall of 39 billion rands. ABSA says the public wage bill remains a big issue, and counting in Eskom's debt relief, it's expected that the main budget deficit will be at 6.6% of GDP. Gloria Sefagomosi, SABC News, Johannesburg.